Did you ever have any pets when you were growing up?
One. My mom hated dogs. My dad and sister always wanted a dog. And me and my mom were like, no, you can't have a dog. And so my mom compromised and got my sister a hamster.
A hamster?
And they're like, what should I call it? And I was watching the Rugrats at the time, so obviously I was young. And then the kid's name was Stewie. Or
right.
what was it? Yeah, Stu.
That was the dad.
Stu. And I was like, what's that short for? And I could have swore it was Stewman.
Stewman.
So we named the pet or the guinea pig or whatever it was Stewman. It died 2 weeks later trying to eat the bag of food next to it. It suffocated on the plastic. We buried it in the backyard and that was all. Did you?
Not really. I had, like, goldfish, but my mom would always kill them when she was cleaning the tank. Then she'd run out to the store and buy another shitty goldfish before I realized that it was gone. I just learned this.
You never knew?
No.
You just learned that over Thanksgiving?
No, I don't know, like this summer. But anyway, I was over Nikki's mom's for Thanksgiving, my mother-in-law's,
That's weird to say, huh?
Yeah, it is a trip to say that out loud. She called the other day about, like, some Christmas thing for Nikki, and I'm like, who is this? Because I didn't have her number in my phone. And she's like, it's Donna, your mother-in-law.
It's your mother-in-law, you dumbass. Now you have to hate her.
I was like, oh, I saved your number. I don't know, it's been weird. But anyway, she just got a snake.
A what?
Like a python.
A snake?
A snake.
No way. Her mom.
Yeah, what do you think the allure is of having a snake as a pet?
At what age?
It
like
doesn't
8?
age.
8? It's
matter.
kind of cool because it's like this big thing and you're in control of it in the tank. But at like 50 or 60? I don't know, man.
I don't know. Like, the only cool thing they do is eat, but they only eat like once every 2 weeks. The rest of the time they just sit in this big aquarium box.
What was that movie with Tom Green in it?
Road Trip.
He just watches the mouse the whole time.
Right. He's like playing the guitar, singing like about the mouse's death.
That's Nikki's mom, just waiting for it to eat.
But like, I don't know. But they're weird. They don't do anything. They just sit under the lamp, eat once every 2 weeks. I don't know. I think it's weird.
Yeah, I'd be like, you did what?
Whatever. Alright, welcome to Trivial Misconceptions. John Riggs here with Joe Crowley, back from our week-long hiatus, our bye week. How'd you spend it?
It's been a trip, man. I drove on Wednesday. I got out of work a little early and drove to Milwaukee. My girlfriend's from Wisconsin. Sounded like a great idea at first. Thanksgiving always is terrible for traveling. You don't even think about it until you have to do it, you know? You're like, well, yeah, the flights are expensive. So the flights were like over $400, and there's no direct flight from Milwaukee to Pittsburgh.
Is there a direct flight anywhere to Milwaukee?
Ohio.
Okay.
You could I think it was from Akron, which I don't even fucking know why Akron has a fucking airport. But
Latrobe has an airport.
It's ridiculous. Drive to Pittsburgh. But it's like, so Jenna was like, we could drive to Akron, get on a flight, fly back, get in our car, and drive back. And then all of a sudden, or we could take a connect through like Chicago, and then all of a sudden it's ended up being 6-7 hours anyway. And it was 9 hours to drive. So it sounded like a great idea, but
yeah. How long did it take? 9 hours?
It took 9 hours on the way there, and then like 8 hours on the way back, which would have been fine, but I got sick on Saturday night, like, with the flu. Just getting over it now, and, dude, I was dying. It was like an 8-hour drive in the passenger seat, and I was just, like, wanting to kill myself.
I get car sick anyway.
I was just about to jump out and roll. Thank God.
Just leave me here.
I made her stop to get Imodium, so I didn't shit my pants the whole way home.
That was probably the best for everybody.
Yeah, it worked out well.
Well, anyway, but all right, other than the traveling, how was the trip, the holiday?
It was good.
How was dinner? Did you get that white meat? I know you like white meat.
I love my white meat. Yeah. We went over to Grandma's house, and I don't know what it is about Grandma's houses, but they're never big enough. And it's funny because, I don't know, maybe yours is, but my grandma's house isn't big enough either. And they're the ones that have all the kids, that have all the kids, you know? So they were the ones that had 4 kids. They're the ones that had 6 kids, and now you can barely fit them in the goddamn house because there's like 100 kids. So we went over there, and it was all good. We're just sitting there watching some football and then they're like, okay, dinner time. I'm like, thank the Lord.
Was it like served or was it buffet style?
Buffet.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. So I go up there and I'm like picking out my meat. I'm all happy, ready to go. I love Thanksgiving. And I'm looking, I'm like, where's the mashed potatoes?
No mashed potatoes?
No mashed potatoes. What the fuck what are you thinking?
That's weird. What, did they have any?
They had 3 types of potatoes. None mashed.
What'd they have?
Sweet potatoes.
Yeah, I don't like those.
They call them like heart attack potatoes.
Is there like
I don't know. It's like sour cream and bacon and but they're like not mashed. I don't know. I didn't go for it. And then they had like hash brown type potatoes. So it's kind of it kind of kills the mood. You're like the only thing that I associate with Thanksgiving is turkey, stuffing, and mashed potatoes. That's it. That's all I want.
Well, did they have gravy for the turkey?
They had gravy and they had stuffing.
So they had the gravy, but they didn't have the potatoes.
Well, it was like someone just assumed that someone else was going to make it. And like,
okay. So it was an error. It was an oversight.
I think it was an error. I was there 2 years ago or something like that, and
there were mashed potatoes.
And there were mashed potatoes there, so I don't think
that's why you were like, yeah, fuck it, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go to Grandma's house.
It's weird.
I'll drive 9 hours to Grandma's house. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, as long as you got mashed potatoes, what the fuck? But I mean,
right.
then so I get my fucking plate. I'm pissed. There's no potatoes.
Were you like? Did everybody know you were pissed? Did like Jenna know you were pissed?
Jenna knew I was pissed. I don't know about anyone else because I was.
We spent like the whole ride talking about it.
So I was like, where's the mashed potatoes?
Like,
and
is there a dish?
And then an aunt said,
somebody forget to put it out.
Yeah, and one of her aunts heard me and was like, is there no mashed potatoes? And they're like, no, we have these, and these. I'm like, oh, all right. So then I'm like so disappointed. And I walk into the other room, put my plate down. Jenna comes in and goes, you can't sit there. That's the adult table.
The adult table.
So I'm muzzled because I can't say anything at this point because you just can't let off the wrong impression. So I just stare at her for a second just so she knows. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm 27 now. I mean, what age? At what age do we get? Her sister has a kid and she's pregnant and she can't sit at the adult table.
Is the adult table is there only like 4 seats at the adult table?
Yeah. Well, I guess it's like her grandma and then it was like all her kids and their husbands or wives. So it's like her aunts and uncles.
It's not the adult table. It's just that generation's table. You have to wait for a generation to die off before you can.
Yeah, I sat there 2 years ago, so I must have fucked something up last time. Someone must have had to sit at the kiddie table.
Were like, Jenna, now you can come. But make sure you tell your idiot boyfriend
that he sits with the 2-year-old next time.
Yeah, he's sitting out there when we're watching fucking Teletubbies.
She's flinging potatoes and gravy. I'm trying to watch the
hard potato, not even mashed potato.
Yeah.
Knocking you out, hitting your head with a fucking baked potato. I sat at the kids' table too, but
you had to sit. That's incredible that you have to sit. That we both were relegated to the kids' table. You're older.
Well, I guess. I mean, it's not really the kids' table. Everybody is like 17 or over. So it's just another table in another room.
Yeah, I was sitting with like 6-year-olds. Like 3 6-year-olds, a 2-year-old.
I talked to the 6-year-olds then with Grandma.
Yeah, the first time I was there, they made me say grace, and I ain't never said grace in my life.
The newbie.
Yeah, they thought it was funny, which I kind of respect that.
Okay.
But
all right, if it was a joke, then that's cool. But if it was like serious, then
I was like, yeah, thank God for this. Thank God for these mashed potatoes. 2 years later,
for Walmart and mashed potatoes. All right, well,
how was your dinner?
Well, like I said, I sat at the kids' table, but I didn't care. I took a leg before anybody had a chance to say anything.
Pop that bitch right off, walked in there like a barbarian.
The beer was expired.
That's so funny because her grandma's beer was expired too. It's just from like '09 too. It's like we're like 3 years behind here, lady.
Mine was just expired. I brought it from the house.
Oh, you brought it.
I felt bad, and I didn't. It wasn't like a case of beer or anything.
It's a plastic bag.
Like whatever beer was in the refrigerator, I show up with like a plastic Shop and Save bag full of expired.
Like I'd show up in the woods in 9th grade where I stole beer from my dad.
Right, I come walking.
I got the goods.
Like, what you got? I was like, some beer. So I put it. But it wasn't bad. It had that tinny taste, but I drank it. I didn't care.
I always just try to like talk myself out of it and be like, that's just the born on date. That's not the expiration date.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what I told myself. I had 2 beers and then I was like, they wouldn't. Her family's not big drinkers, so like all of a sudden I feel awkward if I had 2 beers before anyone else like finished one, and then I was like, all right, I guess I'm gonna stop drinking because.
Well, my uncle showed up eventually, and he has like he rolls around with a cooler in the back of his truck. It's always stocked with something. I don't know if he like stocks it to go to these events.
I hope so.
It's just always stocked. He always has like water, like bottles of water and Bud Light.
That's a DUI in the making, even if you're not drunk.
I don't know. I was like, hey, thanks, man. But did you watch football on Thanksgiving, or did you just sit around a table and give thanks?
Well, thankfully the kids' table was the table in the living room, the pop-up table, like the plastic outside table. Brought that in the living room to sit at.
Yeah.
But I guess the game was on in the background of everyone talking to everyone but me. But I mean, I watched a little bit. I don't really care. The Steelers are never on Thanksgiving.
No, thank God. They were. Was that the one year when they messed up the coin flip?
Oh, yeah, Bettis.
Yeah.
That was fucked up. That's fucking ridiculous. But fuck Detroit. Fuck Dallas. Like I just don't care. I watched the first 10, and then that night game it's useless.
Oh, that was the worst game. Oh.
It's like we don't need it. We're gonna watch football all day.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
Like even
I turned it on because nothing else to do.
I'm so far over this. I know the NFL is the biggest sport in the nation, and there's no hockey or whatever, and all this good stuff. But like, and they can sell the shit out of it. They can do whatever they want, and people are gonna watch it. Like Thursday night, uncalled for. Sunday night's uncalled for. Put them all on at 1 and 4, and have the Monday.
Thursday nights are definitely pushing it.
Right. No, Thursday night's over the line. Sunday night is pushing it. I can't stay up for like Monday night should be the only game in prime time.
Yeah, it should be special.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's not because you have 3 separate primetime games. Like I don't know. And now they got the Thanksgiving night game on NBC instead of on like whatever, the NFL Network.
Yeah.
So everyone has it. And they make a big deal out of it now. And that was the worst fucking game ever. I watched like 10 minutes and it was like 35-2.
Yeah, I think they scored. Didn't they score like 30 points in like 50 seconds?
Dude, it was ridiculous. Sanchez, did you see that one play with Sanchez?
When he ran into the dude and just dropped the ball?
Yeah. So he hikes it, goes to hand it off, but there's no one there. So then he turns back around. So what do? You could go. You throw it, or you run right, or you run left. He just starts running, runs straight in this dude's ass, fumbles the ball, and the guy picks up and runs into the end zone. That was terrible. Terrible.
Yeah.
That Dallas game was terrible too. It was like 28-3. I mean,
I hate Dallas. I hate Dallas for lots of reasons. I mean, why does everybody talk about them all the time? Every year they're going to be, and they're supposed to be in the playoffs.
America's team.
America. I can't say anything because I'm sure everybody outside of Pittsburgh hates the Steelers, and I know that, and that's fine. But I hate the Cowboys.
I was raised to hate the Cowboys.
Yeah.
But I've never met a Cowboys fan, and that's good because there are Cowboys fans everywhere. If there's a Steelers fan, you know they're there. And they're obnoxious as hell. And that's why people don't like the Steelers. And I understand that. But
yeah, I don't know. They're just the enemy, I guess, for some reason.
And Tony Romo should be good. Like I can't.
Tony Romo fucked my fantasy team on more than one occasion.
That kind of shit happens to me. I'll never draft you again. I haven't picked Frank Gore since 2002, and it was a horrible decision. He's awesome. I still won't do it because he broke his knee the one year. The only time I ever drafted Tom Brady, picked him first overall, he blew out his knee in the first quarter of the first game.
That sucks. I think it might have been you that I played this week, and I had like 2 receivers that didn't play.
And you still beat me?
But Brady scored 60 points.
Yeah. I looked at that. I was like, John didn't even switch his lineup and beat me. He had 2 receivers out, and Tom Brady scored 70 points. He literally scored 65 points.
I was going to text you and talk shit about it, but I was like, that's just so ridiculous. It's not even it's more embarrassing on my part than anything else.
I think I don't even know. I don't want to talk about the Steelers yet, but on my work or my old works team, I had Roethlisberger, and then Wallace, and then Dwyer and Mendenhall. Because I was in Boston, so no one picks the Steelers, and I overrate them and they underrate them. And all year Ben's been tearing it up with Wallace.
Yeah.
And then I sometimes don't play the running back, but since they didn't play, or since Batch was playing, so I put in Batch, and I was like, I can't take out Wallace, but I think we're going to run it, so Dwyer should make up for it.
I think you just overthought it from the beginning.
Yeah, don't play anyone. They all got 1 point. That's it. It's a PPR league. All you have to do is catch it, and you get a point.
Whatever. What else about Thanksgiving? Did you go Black Friday? Did you ever do Black Friday?
Once. I did. Last year was my first year. I needed TV bad. I was probably the last straight male in America to have a tube TV.
Are you saying that gay dudes have shitty TVs?
Maybe. What do they have to watch in HD?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Right.
What
you went
good
to get
is
a TV. Where'd you go?
Target.
Did you get it?
So last year was Thanksgiving in Pittsburgh. We switched. So Christmas is in Pittsburgh because Thanksgiving was in Pittsburgh last year.
Uh-huh.
And so we had to wait outside, which sucks. So we got there. It opened at 10. I think they switched it this year to 8. But it was 10. So we stood in line forever. And I understand why people like it. Girls like shopping to begin with. I don't like shopping. And if you like shopping, and I kind of even liked it. Once I was in there, it's like an adrenaline. Everyone's you're running for your shit, dude. You stiff arming bitches out the way. That's my TV. Pick it up and run. I went with Jenna, and we needed 4 different things that we were going for.
Did you break it up?
So I was like, I'm going for the TV. You get the other 3 things. So I go in there. I'm ducking and moving past people. I grab the TV. I'm yeah, thank God. I would have been so pissed if I waited in line for 2 hours and didn't get a TV.
Right.
So then I meet up with Jenna. We wanted a million thread count sheets were on sale for $20 or something. So we're look at sheets, and then we had to get a DVD player and something else. So I meet up with her, and she only got the sheets. I'm what are you doing?
You're fucking shit up.
She's I can't find it. She got so flustered because there were so many people running around.
Chaos everywhere.
I hand off the TV and just go run in and find the other 2 things, grab them off the shelves, run back to the cart. I'm yeah.
You sound pretty good at it.
Jenna was so disappointed. She wilted under the pressure. She's I'm going to do better next year. She went on Friday. I was I ain't going there.
Yeah. Nikki went out at 8 at night. And I'm sure that sucks, if you work at Target.
That'd be terrible.
It's better than waking up at 4 in the morning to go out shopping. I mean, she came back at 3, and that's just a night out drinking.
Yeah.
Instead of going to bed and then waking up.
That's a long time, dude. Well,
what?
That's what the thing is. The stores stagger their times. Target will be at 8, and then Walmart will be at 10, and then
yeah.
Toys R Us only opens at 6 a.m. So, it's a marathon. I don't. I mean, like I said, I understand it, but that shit's crazy. Could you imagine leaving at 8 and shopping until 3 a.m.?
Yeah, no.
That's probably better for the workers though too. Like I'd rather go at 8 o'clock on Thanksgiving night than wake up at 3 a.m. and go into work too.
My sister had to work at midnight.
Really? Where at?
New York and Company.
What's that, at the mall?
Yeah, 12 to 6.
The mall? Like Monroeville Mall?
Yeah, the mall.
Was open at midnight on Black Friday.
Yeah.
Did they used to do that? I find it hard to believe that those kind of stores.
Well, Macy's and stuff.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, the ones that had the big ones on the ends.
Yeah, but you figure, I mean, if you're already there, I don't know. Whatever. So we covered turkey, football, Black Friday. A lot of people go to the movies over the holidays. Did you go to the movies?
I did. I've been Lincoln. Well, yeah, I went to go. I've been griping about it because like I wanted to see it 2 weeks ago, and like we have talked about it, and I wasn't even the one that found out because I was like, Jenna, we need to go see this because I was going to see it and you were going to see Bond and we were going to talk about them separately. And then she gets on like Gmail and says, that doesn't come out for another week. And I'm like, you're wrong. And I like get mad at her like it's her fault. So then,
messenger. So
I've been griping about going to see it for 2 weeks. She's obviously it's historical content. She's not running out the door to go see it, but
it's a drama though.
I mean, hey, if it can happen in real life, I could talk her into going. If it
that did happen in real life.
Right, exactly. So I talked her into going. But if it's The Hobbit, did I tell you about the preview? We're watching the previews.
Yeah.
And The Hobbit comes on.
Was it a good preview?
It was all right. And Jenna goes, I hate hobbits.
She hates hobbits?
Just dead serious. Like if they're real people or something. I hate hobbits.
She's like racist
against hobbits. Like I made her watch Lord of the Rings once.
Yeah.
Because she hates it. She won't watch a superhero movie. She won't watch these fantasy, sci-fi. If it's not real, she just doesn't want to see it. And I guess I can understand it, but I like that stuff. So, like, I was like, you gotta watch Lord of the Rings. You gotta watch it, you know? And she was like, no. And I was like, it happened to be, like, on Encore one night. I'm like, we're watching it. So we turn it on, and then, like,
Which one?
The first one.
Okay.
So it's good. I was like, it's the first one. If you like it, we'll watch the other ones. And she's like, fine. And so...
Did you make it through the whole thing?
Well, no. We were watching it, and then all of a sudden, like, I was thinking about what she was thinking about. Like, what would I think if I didn't want to watch this movie and someone made me watch it? And then I just saw how ridiculous the whole fucking thing was, and I was like, this is stupid. I'm turning it off. I turned it off. I didn't even make her watch it.
Yeah, it's like if you have to do something, you're not gonna like it.
Like you have to go into those kind of movies being like, this is gonna be awesome, and bam, then all of a sudden you're having fun. But like if you go in and be like, this is gonna be stupid, it's gonna be stupid.
Right.
Either way.
How was the movie? I mean, tell me about it. I wanted to see it, but I did not. Who's in it? We got Spielberg directed it, right?
Yep.
Daniel Day-Lewis,
DDL.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Tommy Lee Jones. Those are your that's like three. I want three names now too.
Yeah, you got three names. What's your middle name?
Ryan.
That's good.
I don't know. I'm not going to start using it.
When I moved to Boston, I started signing my middle name every time I wrote my name.
Okay.
Lasted like 6 months.
That's a pretty long time.
Yeah, I like figured out.
You gave it a shot. You gave it a legitimate shot. It just didn't catch on.
Yeah, I was like, fuck it. I still write Joseph instead of Joe, and it's kind of confusing because every time I talk to someone, they're like, what should we call you? I'm like, Joe. And they're like, why do you sign Joseph? I was like, I don't know. That's just what they make you sign.
Checks. I don't know.
Right.
Those are your boys, though. That's like a porno for you. Daniel Day-Lewis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. You throw Gosling in there, I think Jenna would get jealous.
Bonerific, man. Loved it. I sat there just jacking off the whole time. It was a great cast. Gordon-Levitt wasn't in it too much. He was like the son And he had like it was a plot device. I guess I'll just talk about it in general.
I wasn't, overall, I wasn't.
I really liked it. Preface that by saying I'm a huge history nerd. Like, I watch documentaries anytime they're on. Like, I watched one on Lincoln before this. And then I watch the universe every night before I go to bed. How the universe works through the wormhole. Like that's my shit. I'd rather watch that than anything else on TV. So that being said, it was a beautifully crafted movie, a beautifully acted movie, and I love the content because when you think about Lincoln, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you kind of think about the Civil War, right?
Yeah, I don't know what else you would think about.
Yeah, so...
The Emancipation Proclamation.
And so, or him getting killed at Ford Theater. They avoid these topics, and I love that about the movie. It was kind of like the politics of him. And everyone's ever heard Honest Abe, all this shit about him returning a penny or whatever. And it was like... Lincoln was in there, and he was getting his shit done no matter what anyone said. And it was so cool because it was like from a political point of view. And he was like, I guess the point of the movie is, it's hard, I don't want to give spoilers away, but it's history, it happened. So if anyone reads a book, they would know what happens. It's like he just got elected president. Reelected, yes. And the Civil War is coming to a close. Like, the Union, the North,
wins.
Yeah, we're taking over. It's becoming obvious.
It's clear that we're going
to win, but no one knows when the Civil War is going to end, and everyone wants it to end. Like, no one wants it to happen. Like, the North wants it to end, the South wants it to end, but no one wants to give up, and they understand why they're fighting. And Lincoln says, we need to get the 13th Amendment passed before this war ends. And that's what it's about, which is that...
was it a dramatic, you keep talking about the cast and everything.
Yeah.
Is that the best part?
Well, it was cool because certain people shined in certain moments. Like, Daniel Day-Lewis he's the best actor in the world, in my opinion. There's no one better. So he shines throughout the whole movie. But you always need that second person in there, especially in a drama movie, because there's so much dialogue going back and forth.
You gotta bounce off somebody.
So, Tommy Lee Jones was Thaddeus Stevens. He's this big pro, I don't know, black people kind of guy. He thinks that slavery is outright wrong.
Abolitionist.
Yeah. Black people should have the right to vote. They should have the right to do everything that we do.
Okay.
And Lincoln says... well, nothing's ever going to get passed if we say that. So it's like, he's so far ahead of his time. Like, he's like, we have to just do it one step at a time. We have to abolish slavery, and then we could talk about voting later. It's like one step at a time. So it's like the politics. So he was funny because it's like they show the Congress, and it's the Democrats are so against this, which is kind of weird because, I don't know, it seems opposite now. It's like the parties have switched.
Yeah, flip-flop.
But the Democrats were so against it. And they're filibustering. And he'll be like, you scum-suckling wagglebosher or something and they're talking like an old colonial. And they're calling names at each other. So Tommy Lee Jones did a great job.
I like Tommy Lee Jones.
And
we talked about this before.
Yeah, he was funny. He was very funny. And he was serious when he needed to be. And so there was a lot of it that was Tommy Lee Jones in Congress, and Lincoln doesn't even go near it.
I think he's underrated.
He might, yeah. I mean...
I don't see him in a lot of stuff.
A lot of good actors do that, They, pick their movies.
Choose their roles.
But, at the same time, he did, 5 Men in Black, so who knows?
The first one was really good.
Yeah, it was. Will Smith. Woo! Then, so he was in there, and then Sally Field. What movie have you seen Sally Field in?
Forrest Gump.
That's true.
Smokey and the Bandit.
I never saw that. I automatically think of Mrs. Doubtfire. That's the only thing.
Yeah, Mrs. Doubtfire.
That's the only thing that I can relate to her.
Nikki loves that. Might be her favorite movie.
Me and Coyle used to watch that Stay Over.
You guys watch Mrs. Doubtfire
on VHS.
What's your favorite part of Mrs. Doubtfire? What's your favorite scene?
It's when he comes back as Mrs. Doubtfire, and the lady comes to check on the dad to see like what he's doing. So he goes up and he has to keep on switching back and forth. And he knocks his face out the window.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh shit!" And then we always used to rewind it because we thought it was so funny that he said "shit" over and over. I don't know. But
sorry. Anyway,
so that's like the only movie, I guess, Forrest Gump I watched. That's true. But she won an Oscar before, you know. She's been around the block.
She's a pro.
I've never seen her in anything like this, and she was. It's like his wife was a crazy person, man.
That's what I was gonna say. Is she really crazy?
Here's the thing. It's like I can understand what she's going crazy about, but like she's going over the line crazy. I guess she has headaches all the time. She got in a carriage accident.
Okay.
And she has a constant headache her whole life. Could you imagine living in those times? Like now they could probably fix it. You know, if there's
at least give some like
putting something on your like pressure on a nerve or something where you have a headache all the time. And it's like she's always she's either depressed or very like sassy and happy. Like she puts on this show for everybody but Lincoln. And then, like, when they're alone, she's always, like, yelling at him and, like, blaming him for, like, the child's death and stuff. And it's, like, some powerful shit. It's, like, sad, you know?
It's like, bitch, I got a lot on my plate right now.
Right. And he's like, I'm trying to fucking make people free. I'm trying to free the world.
Everybody's killing each other because of me.
Yeah. And like, his son, like, Gordon Levitt wants to go to war. He's like, I will never forgive you if you keep me from doing this. This is what I want to do. And he's like, all right. And then he tells his wife, and she's like, I will kill you. I will kill you. And he just starts, he's just like, doesn't know what to say. He's like, it's pretty heavy shit. And
that's cool.
It is. It was great. And then, so it was heavy, but then they did a great job of mixing in funny stuff. Like, all of a sudden, Lincoln will be, like, sitting there depressed, and they'll be just talking about something like one of his bad dreams or something. And he'll be, like, sitting there depressed, and all of a sudden he just goes into this story about something funny. And everyone starts laughing, and it, like, eases the room, you know? And then it gets tense again, and then it eases the room. You can't sit there
for 2.5 hours of heaviness.
So, I mean, I give Spielberg a lot of credit, too. The thing that I associate with Spielberg is magic, right?
Magic?
Yeah, I don't know. Everything he does has this little tinge of, like, Jurassic Park or E.T. or, I don't know, give me something else.
Hook?
Yeah, I mean, they all have that, like...
Indiana Jones?
Yeah, the War Horse. They all have this little...
War Horse.
It's like, but, I mean, he did a great job. He's obvious. I mean, he did like Schindler's List, which I personally think is probably his best movie, but that's just me. And he kind of went back to that, and the whole cast did a great job.
So is this the kind of thing where like Oscars are going to be flying off the shelves?
So the previews they showed. You see this preview for Lace? What is it? Miserable.
Les Miserables.
Yeah, that's coming out. The musical.
Yeah, with Anne Hathaway and Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, Russell Crowe and all kinds of people. Everybody.
I don't really want to see Russell Crowe singing a song. I can see Jackman singing a song and Hathaway singing a song, but I don't see Russell Crowe singing a song.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge musical fan. Like, I never saw Chicago.
It's okay. I hate musicals too.
Yeah.
I like South Park.
Yeah, that was a good one.
South Park's good. You
got it. Yeah, if you make it funny, that might be the best musical ever made.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people say.
But I guarantee the Academy loves that shit, that musical stuff. Like the artist, I'm just gonna scratch an itch real quick. The artist should have never won last year. It is a fucking travesty that movie won. And I never say anything because I never saw it. But it was on Netflix while I was in Boston and Jenna was here. So I don't do anything. I was just sit in my room and watch Netflix because I didn't want to sit next to the kid that I was living with. So I was like, oh, The Artist, it won. And I loved The Descendants last year with Clooney. I thought it was the most raw, emotional, and then funny. Like, who was that? Paul Thomas Anderson, right? No. It was the guy that did Sideways. Fuck it. Anyway, he's like a real director that does real shit. And he fucking nailed that movie to a T. And The Artist, I understand that it's like this silent movie. And, yeah, that's cool. That's not cool at all. There's a reason why we got sound. Keep living in the fucking past, asshole. Give it to the real fucking person.
Anyway.
Okay. My point is the Academy does bullshit like that all the time where Goodfellas doesn't win. You know, and Dancing with Wolves wins over the Goodfellas when Goodfellas is obviously the better movie. And I feel the same way about The Descendants and The Artist, and I could go on, but I won't. So not that Lincoln will be the best movie. I know there's other movies coming out that might. I think Daniel Day-Lewis will win because...
Has he ever won before?
Yeah, twice. He won for There Will Be Blood.
Yeah.
And he won in 1989 for My Left Foot.
That's weird.
Yeah, he was... I never saw it. I actually tried to watch it once, but it was fucking weird, man. He had like club foot. And it was the first time that he ever did method acting. Like, I don't know if you ever... I love this guy. So I like read his Wikipedia page and everything. So he like goes on a set and makes you treat him like that character all the time. Yeah. Like Gangs of New York, he used the same New York accent the whole time and made people like throw stuff at him and stuff and treat him like that person the whole time. It's like My Left Foot, it's like about this, like, what's the word? Disabled person in a wheelchair. So the whole set, for the however long it was filming, he was hunched over in a wheelchair until he broke 3 ribs and continued to act like that throughout the rest of the movie, just from like never moving and having to lay like that. And like, I started watching it once and it was just harsh, man. It's just that kind of stuff is too real. Like, I feel bad, you know, for people.
Right. Was that the idea?
Yeah, probably. I went on a kick there for a while. Like, in college, I got TCM, Turner Classic Movies, I think it was, for free somehow. And they, like, leading up to the Oscars, they played the best Oscar movies from each decade on each night of the week. So I just stayed and smoked pot and watched, like, Raging Bull and, I don't know.
That was your, like,
Along the Waterfront, you know. Yeah, so I tried to, like, catch everything I could. Vertigo. Any movie that, like, I heard was good, I'd, like, look them up and be like, I'll watch that one. DVR that bitch. But Sally Field, I typically feel like the woman best lead actress is thin. I don't know how else to say it. Rarely is there a good female protagonist or anti-hero, you know?
Well, that's not their fault that they're not.
I agree.
Trying to say.
Yeah, you're right. Right. I think that our society needs to move on. Like, everything that we watch is a male, and everything now is a male anti-hero. The Sopranos. Like,
do you think they do that? I mean, I don't know if it's on purpose or not. Do you think that women relate more to men than men can relate to women? Or, like, what do you think is behind it?
I don't know. That's a good question. Because I think that there's more male writers, is my opinion of it. That the people that are writing the show are men.
So, yeah.
Like, you write. Have you ever... I wrote one story once from a woman's point of view. And I was pretty much walking blind, you know. I don't know what they think about. So, I don't know. I have no idea what you think about when you wake up, when you look at yourself in the mirror, when you take a shower. I don't know what you do. So
yeah, that's interesting. I'm reading a book right now. It's about this. I don't know. It's about this girl, and it's kind of weird. It's almost like too weird to be like real, I think. But then again, I was never a weird teenage girl, so I don't know. It might be spot on.
Right. You never know. Like, I don't know. I agree. Like, I don't know what you thought when you were a kid. I know what I thought, and I have a good idea what maybe you thought about, but, like, it's hard. There's not enough. I would love to know, I guess is my point. But there's not enough literature or movies or TV shows that portray it. So, like, it's always weak. The female, I mean, Meryl Streep will win it if she's in it, you know? If she's fucking up for it.
Sandra Bullock beat her.
That was terrible, too. The Blind.
Side.
It was an alright movie, but that was not, like, when was that?
2009.
Oh, I wish I knew the guy that won it. Just to compare what they did.
I could tell you.
Yeah, look it up.
Give me 1 second. 2010, 2009. Jeff Bridges.
That fucking movie sucked too. Crazy Heart. It was alright. Did you see that movie?
No, I was not interested.
Yeah, he's just a drunk country singer. I mean,
I've seen it.
but think of just the range that you have to do. It's like this guy that falls in love, and he was a big music star, but then he fell off the map. Now he's playing like bowling alleys, and he just gets hammered all the time. He just goes and buys whiskey and throws up, and then goes out on stage, and this girl falls in love with him.
And he does a good job of making us believe that really happens.
Yeah, it's like, I guess to bring it back around, I watched that movie, and it was like 2.5 hours long, which is a long movie, especially when it's about like that kind of content. There's no action or anything.
Uh-huh.
And Jenna
was it suspenseful in any way? Like, were you into it the whole time?
Yeah, I think it was, because it was a little bit trivial, because you're like, everybody knows that the 13th Amendment passed, that slavery was abolished, but you don't know if it happened then, you know? Or when it happens. Like, I'm not saying it did or didn't. Like, they lead up and it's like, it's not going to happen. Or it is going to happen, you know? So you don't know it. And it was suspenseful. Like, I guess that was one of the main climaxes. But also, it was just, you watch him, and I turned to Jenna, and she didn't fall asleep, and believe me, that's saying something. I turned to Jenna and said, you forget that that's not Lincoln. It's like you're watching like a film from like a home video or something, because like you forget that that's another person. If you watch Daniel Day-Lewis in anything, he never is the same. Like The Last of the Mohicans, The Crucible, Gangs of New York, There Will Be Blood. I guess There Will Be Blood and Gangs of New York, they kind of look the same. But like if you see him without his beard, and he looks like a completely different person. And acts, it's crazy. And when you can't tell that someone's acting, I think that's when, like Jeff Bridges.
When they're really acting?
Yeah, and it's believable. When I'm watching, all the time I watch like a TV show, and I'm like, this is ridiculous, because you can just see the person acting. It's not real to them. And
you can see them emote.
Yeah. It's like,
and say the lines.
Right. And that never happens with Daniel Day-Lewis, and it never happens with anybody that wins the best male actor. Whereas Sandra Bullock, I could see her acting. I mean, I'm not saying that there's not good actresses. Keira Knightley, I love her. I think she's great. But and I don't think it's that the actress is totally all their fault. I think that Hollywood needs to come around and start being more proactive with put a female in charge of Breaking Bad, you know?
That would be interesting. All right, well.
Got a little off track there.
That's okay. What should we should get back on track, unfortunately.
Yeah.
When did you get back in town? You came back Sunday?
Yeah, Yeah.
Were Were you home in time for the game?
Nope. So like I said, I was sick Saturday night, and I didn't sleep at all. Like, I haven't slept in like 4 days. I'm like running on empty. But we left at like 8 Central, 9 Eastern, and I fucking hate Central Time. And I don't even know why. It makes no difference. But think about it. You leave at 8 Central, and all of a sudden it's not even that time. It's 9, and that's a lot later. If you leave at 8 and 9, I feel like it's like all of a sudden you're getting home at 7 instead of 6.
Right.
And I feel like that's a big difference. But, I mean, I couldn't even imagine the 3 zones. The Central is enough to fucking piss me off. But, no, I listened to it, and I made a deal with Jenna that I'll listen to, like, Adele and Eric Church and all that bullshit if I could listen to the Steeler game at 1. And I was watching the clock, and it says it's 12. I was like, all right, the Steeler game's on. She's like, no, we never switched the clock in the car. So now it's an hour ahead of it anyway. So I'm like watching the clock the whole time, just hoping for the Steeler game to come on. And I have so we're driving Wisconsin through Chicago, and then we like go right along the Michigan border, through Indiana, through Ohio, back to Pittsburgh. And you can't get I have it on my phone, like iHeartRadio app, where you can get any radio station from anywhere. So I had it, and I was like, after listening to that shit, it's like 1:45. I plug it in, and I'm like, all right, listen to the last 15 minutes of the pregame show, and this recorded message comes on, and it's like, if you are listening to this on a mobile application, you will not be able to hear it for copyright reasons or whatever. I was so fucking pissed. Because then, I don't know.
So what'd you do?
Well, thankfully, at that point, we were crossing the Indiana border into Ohio. I missed the beginning. Like, I missed the interception, which is, like, probably the only good thing that happened the whole game. But then I got to listen to the Cleveland guys announce it, too, which is worse.
You know what you should have done? I mean, I know it doesn't matter now, but if you just went to DVE's website, like through your browser on your phone, you could have played it through that.
Maybe. I wonder, because I tried. But
anyway. Yeah, I got home in time. I got home at 12:30. But I drove. Like, I drove the whole way. So I was tired. And I laid down on the couch, and
it's the Browns.
Yeah, I fell asleep early
in the
first
Browns.
quarter. It was not riveting.
It's the Browns. There's just nothing else to say. Like, I can't remember once in my lifetime that the Browns were good.
Yeah, I mean, and, like, we lost, and, like, I guess so.
We lost it that
we
lost that one playoff game.
Not an interesting game at all. You know what I mean? Like, I woke up in time to see 3 fumbles and 3 interceptions, and I just accepted that we sucked and weren't going to win, so I didn't even get too worked up about it.
Yeah.
You know, like, how was it your experience listening to it, that debacle in the car?
Listening to it isn't nearly as emotionally draining as, like, watching it on TV. Like, watching it transpire. Like, I guess when I watch it, I see him drop back. And then I see it, and I see it happening, you know?
See the ball floating up there.
Yeah, and the guy, like, intercepting it. And it was like, so it isn't, basically, it was kind of like, I don't know. I was like, it was like, the guy goes fumble, and I'm like, fuck. And he was like, fumble, and I'm like, fuck, fumble, fuck, pick, fuck, and then I'm like, we're never going to win. Like, Jenna cares.
Yeah.
And I was like, we have 5 turnovers. How are we ever going to win? And then I'm like, we might still win. We got the ball back, you know? Pick. Fuck.
Faith.
I can't believe we can still win this game after 7 turnovers. Or 6 turnovers. Fumble. Fuck. Then we got it back again, and then we fumbled it again.
Yeah.
8 turnovers.
It was comical. It was funny by the end.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't be disgusted. If you were disgusted with it, then you were just going to fuck up your day. It wasn't worth it. I'm glad I didn't see it. That's terrible. Like, terrible. I can't even express. I watched the Mike Tomlin press conference to try and see how the organization was doing, you know, and it was full of Tomlin phrases, typical Tomlin phrases. What do you think of him lately?
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like he's making some bad decisions. Like with the fake field goal in New York. Terrible. Thank God we still won that. And then the running back thing was so weird. It was like the Cleveland announcers were making fun of him. And it was funny because they're like, "Oh, Redmond's fumbled." There's no sorry. Redmond fumbled, and he's like, "Fumble." They're excited because they get that first turnover. And then all of a sudden, Mendenhall fumbles, and they're like, "Oh, that's two backs that fumble." Then all of a sudden, Dwyer fumbles, and they're like, "Oh my God, they just can't hold on to the ball." And then it's like, but you can hear him, and he's like, "Tomlin's just not going. If they fumble, they're benched. That's funny, huh?" Like they're making jokes out of it. And it was like, "What are you doing, dude?" And I thought, like, Rainey, did you see it at the end of the first half? They threw it to, I think they threw it to Burris in the end zone, and there was a pass interference call. So the ball was on the 1 with 6 seconds left.
Yeah.
And we had a timeout, or 7 seconds left, and we had a timeout. And then what do? You run it, and then you call a timeout.
What did we do?
We put in Rainey.
With Rainey, with the
because the other
5'9", 150 pounds,
and they ran up the middle. It worked because Rainey got knocked backwards and ran to the outside and scored with no time left.
Yeah,
at what point do you swallow your pride? Like, I understand. Like, I can understand why he went into the game like that. He goes in and says, "If you flash fumble, you're sitting, and you don't want to go back on your word." But then all of a sudden, your 3 best backs, the people that are fighting for the job, have all fumbled. You have to swallow your pride.
You can't bench them all.
Yeah, you have to swallow your pride and put them back out there. And I don't know. This is the point. We lost our star quarterback. Any team in the league that would lose their quarterback would be in a free fall. It doesn't matter who you are.
It's hard to look good. It's hard.
The NFL has changed.
When you have we were our third string quarterback. It's hard to look competent.
Even with your second string, think about it. So, Green Bay, if Aaron Rodgers goes down,
they're done.
You're done. New England, Brady goes down, you're done. If Eli Manning goes down, you're done. Like, there's no one, any team that has, San Francisco had that backup quarterback.
Yeah.
And he actually came in and played good. But that was because they don't have a good quarterback. They need to have a decent backup.
He was playing anyway. They were sort of almost splitting time anyway.
Right. And Harbaugh moved up to pick him, and it's a whole nother story. But it's just like anybody. This is now the NFL has completely changed. San Francisco is not going to win a title this year unless Kaepernick or whatever his name is proves that he is the best. He's an elite quarterback. Like, if he wins this title this year, he's going to be here to stay as a good quarterback. Like, there's no more Trent Dilfers or Brad Johnsons anymore. A defense can't,
guys.
Right. A defense can't win you anymore. You have to have a good quarterback. And once you have that good quarterback, you play to his strengths. And then all of a sudden, when that person leaves, you have nothing left.
Right. All right, well, that said, so does Tomlin get the benefit of the doubt then on some of these sketchy decisions? Is he trying to make something happen, or without Ben, what can you do?
I don't know, man. Yeah, I agree. I think sometimes sometimes he drives me crazy. Like, I've watched his press conferences and stuff too, and he's pretty arrogant up there, but you have to say you can't say what you really think, Like, coaches can't say what they really think. They have to say what is supposed to be said. And then they can say what they really think to their players if they want. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. And you can say that he had Cowher's team right after, But we went to that other one. He always puts together a good team. I like Tomlin. I'm not going to turn on the guy now because he lost his quarterback and we can't win. Because they looked good, right? We were both on board, ready to go when Ben was winning. We beat the Giants, and all of a sudden, they were the best team in the league at that point.
Yeah, we have it's there. Sorry.
Was that a sneeze or a cough?
Sneeze.
God bless you then.
Thanks. Yeah, so we have the guys. I mean, the talent's there, just not the main guys there. So without Ben, what should our expectations be?
Nothing. We're going to lose.
There should be 0.
Right. Exactly. Any team. I would trade. Who has the best defense in the league? Chicago. Yeah. Or Houston. Say Houston, because I like Cutler more than Schaub.
All right.
If Houston said, I'll trade you my whole defense for Ben Roethlisberger, I'd say no. Because what are you going to do? You can't win that way. Or if Chicago said, I'll trade you my whole defense for Tom Brady. No. It's not going to happen because you can't win without a quarterback. And without him, and we've seen it, I mean, I guess looking back on it now, Leftwich did a hell of a job against Baltimore. I mean...
Yeah, because Batch...
He was terrible.
Yeah, he's a good guy, but I think it's time to him to just start doing charity stuff all the time.
Well, it was obvious that they didn't want to go to him because it was obvious that Leftwich was hurt, in that Baltimore game. And Tomlin did not want him in there. And maybe we just saw why. I mean,
everybody was...
You could say that those running backs, yeah, we fumbled 5 times. But he threw 3 interceptions, 2 while we were in their territory driving.
Right. Even with all the turnovers, we still had a chance to win, and some of those picks were devastating.
Like, literally, the Browns are bad enough. If we turn it over 5 times and not 8, we win. All we need was a field goal or 2.
I read an article on NFL.com the other day, Ryan Clark talking about expectations, and I'll just read the quote. He says, "You lose one game in Pittsburgh and the sky is falling. It's just part of our culture." And I guess we can relate to that, right?
Yeah.
He says, "It's part of winning 6 Super Bowls. It's part of being 12-4 3 of the last 4 years. We're a spoiled bunch, and overall we've become entitled. But you can't be entitled. You can't walk into places and just think you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're going to win." Now, 2 things about this quote. I think it's both accurate and inaccurate because he sort of mixes things up. He's right to say that they can't be entitled and expect to win. And we as fans can't be entitled and expect them to win. But when he says it's like spoiled has that negative connotation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think there are certain expectations the organization has, and it's with that success and we as fans have. I expect them to go into Cleveland and win. I expect them to perform. I'm not mad at them for not, but those expectations are there, and that's a good thing. I mean, they worked hard to get those expectations. You know what I mean?
See, I agree with you, and I disagree with you. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with what he said. And here's why. Because we didn't have Ben Roethlisberger. We think that we can win everywhere, anywhere, no matter what. No matter what happens. Roethlisberger goes down, you listen to a talk show, and they're still calling it, oh, we'll good. Put in Charlie Batch. Put in Leftwich. Leftwich sucks. Put in Charlie Batch. Put in Brian Hoyer. Like, we're not going to win. The NFL is now uber competitive, Like, anybody can win at any game.
Yeah.
So, that being said, I feel like I don't think he's – and is it the right media? I don't know. But I think he's more talking to his teammates than he is to us when he says that kind of stuff. Like, it's part of – he's being a leader. I love Ryan Clark. I mean, I think he stepped it up big with Polamalu being out. He's definitely our best defensive player. I mean,
definitely.
You don't even know where Harrison or Woodley are.
Oh, they're both hurt.
Yeah, they're terrible.
All the time.
So, I mean, Timmons has been playing well, but Clark is the leader of the defense out there. And
yeah, that's his team.
So if you have to go out and say something to the media and get it on the bulletin board, then maybe that's something you got to do. I don't think I think everything he said was accurate. I mean, I think we do feel we are spoiled. I'm happy that we're spoiled, and I do expect them to win. And I don't think he's mad at us for expecting them to win, and I don't think whatever. I don't think we're mad at him too much right now. But there's also that base of fans that just can't have a legitimate conversation about them not being good at any point in time. Like, if something's wrong, you can't have an adult conversation about why something's wrong. It's like, nope, they're good. Or like,
denial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Massenchuk. He'll always say that they're good. It's like, they're not good. They suck. We'll see. And sometimes he's right, but sometimes he's wrong. And sometimes I was right at that point in time for saying that they fucking suck right now. And they need to change it.
The thing is that you care more about being right than he does.
Maybe. I do care about that.
All right. Well, let's put this garbage behind us. Baltimore next week. It doesn't... Oh, God. I mean, the injury report...
Baltimore hasn't...
is listed as the starter.
Baltimore hasn't lost at home in, 2 years.
Yeah, well, Ben and Leftwich were throwing and working out, but it's looking like Batch. Do we have a prayer against Baltimore?
No, without Ben? No.
No. Do we have a prayer for the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, the AFC is down, man. The NFC is so much better than the AFC. Who's in the Bengals and the Colts are the only other two teams with a 500 record or over 500?
Yeah, our main competition is now Indianapolis.
They're 7-4 with a rookie quarterback who's good. I mean, I love Andrew Luck.
Right now, we're in second place in the division and have the second wild card right now, even with all this bullshit.
So here's the honest, realistic answer. When is Ben back? Is he back in this week, next week, or in 3 weeks? If he misses this week and next week, we're in trouble because we're not going to win.
No.
So then all of a sudden you're hoping for someone else to lose at the end of the year. And that never turns out well.
No, you don't want to go into the playoffs that way.
Well, I don't mind.
You go in any way you can.
I don't mind backing in as long as Ben comes back healthy.
Right.
But when you're there on the last game of the season watching to see if Cincinnati's going to beat the Dolphins or something, that's
not going to happen.
Yeah, you need to be in charge of your own destiny, and we've been there. Those 2 times we missed the playoffs, it was that kind of shit.
Yeah. Just waiting for it.
Yeah, you knew it was going to happen, but who knows what's going to happen. And they might be able to do it, but they probably won't. The thing is, if you have Roethlisberger at 80%, you put him in. Like, if he ain't going to die.
Roethlisberger at any percent is better than... As long as he's functional and he's not going to die on the field.
He is so good. I think that he is so underrated, it's not even funny.
Would you play him, say he's at 50, 60, 70%, would you play him this week against Baltimore?
If he doesn't have a chance of a setback.
I mean, yeah, because chances are he's going to get killed.
Adams is out. Gilbert's done for the year. But if he can't hurt his shoulder anymore than it already is, and it will heal, then go. Put him in.
See what happens.
Yeah. I'd go. Last year, I made a big deal about the sprained ankle with Roethlisberger. And we played him in that San Francisco game, and I really thought we shouldn't have played him. Because if we could have sat him out, because we were already 10-2 or whatever.
Didn't matter.
And we were going to make the playoffs no matter what. So if you sit him out the rest of the year and we go 1-3, we're still going to make the playoffs. And if we make the playoffs and then Ben is healthy, we can win the Super Bowl. But if you go into the playoffs and Ben can't walk, we can't win the first game. And that's kind of how I feel here. If Ben can't, if in 3 weeks he's still going to be hurt and being at 50%, you can't play him. Because if we have a chance, so what is there, 5 games left?
I don't know.
I think there's 5 games left. If you can't play him the next 2 weeks, and then, I don't know, it starts to get rough because we're not going to make the playoffs as it is. Yeah. So that's where it gets tricky. Yeah, I'd put him in. Put him in. I'd rather have him at 50% than them at 100.
We've seen it.
He is so good. Anybody that says that he is not a top 5 quarterback is a joke. I literally will fight with you all day. I don't care if Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, who else? Eli Manning. I mean, I guess Roethlisberger usually comes in 5th. Roethlisberger is better than Eli Manning. Roethlisberger is better than Peyton Manning.
I think he's better than Peyton Manning. If you put Peyton Manning on the Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger on the Broncos, I think the Steelers are worse and the Broncos are the same or better.
Yeah, because Roethlisberger will win you that game. No matter what. I'd rather have it in his hands than anybody else, and maybe that's me being a homer, but
we've experienced. We've seen it.
Eli is good too. Like I'd rather have it
but
either.
He's not good enough to get him to the playoff.
So yeah, but if I had to pick between the two people I'd want to give the ball to with a 2-minute drill, it'd be Eli and Ben over Brady. Over Peyton. I'd give it to them too. Eli has beat Brady twice.
Yeah.
Outplayed him
he's had
in the Super Bowl.
Whatever. All right. So Baltimore next week. It's not looking good, but the season's not a wash yet. Not yet. We still have hope for the season.
It's a good sign that he's throwing. It's a good sign that he wants to be back. You know he wants to be back.
Yeah.
So we can still make the playoffs because the AFC sucks. Any other year, you can't make the playoffs.
As long as we get in, I'm not worried.
Because you can get in at 9-7 this year. I think the Colts are going to fall off because
hopefully.
I mean Andrew Luck. Yeah, they beat Miami, but
Miami sucks.
Right. So we play the Browns again at home. We play the Bengals at home. If we win those games, we're in good shape.
All right. Well, any other big news we missed over the week or so that we were away?
I don't know, man. Fuck.
No.
I've been dead for 4 days.
Forget it. All right. Before we leave, I have a question. Maybe you can help. Maybe not. I don't know. Some of our older listeners. So, like I said, I just started reading this book, and in the first chapter, we meet this girl's older sister, who the main character looks up to because I guess she's supposed to be cool, you know?
Yeah.
And they're driving around and they're listening to the Smashing Pumpkins on CD. And
despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in a cage.
Right, like I guess it's just like a little bit before my time. But how or why were the Smashing Pumpkins cool?
See, I don't know. I think I got into music really early because I always looked up to my older cousin, and he always I think we talked about before that he was a huge Nirvana fan and all that stuff.
Well, I can see why Nirvana is cool.
Right. But at the time, I think this would be my answer. And is it intelligent? I don't know. When a band comes out, any band comes out, you hear their first CD, and you're like, these guys are the fucking balls, man. They're awesome. And you don't know what's going to come, you know? There's so many bands that come out with a great first CD, and then their second CD's all right, and then all of a sudden they suck. You know, it just say anything.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm saying, okay, I understand what you're saying, but was that arty? Was that the thing to be?
See,
you know, was that stylistic?
I think that they put together a lot of stuff. They had a cello player, didn't they?
I think at one point.
Yeah, so
Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness.
Yeah, I had that CD. But I feel like that they mixed hard rock and then grunge, and then they put. I mean, I think they mixed up a lot. You know, they were kind of hard to nail down.
Okay,
and I think critics liked it.
The nerdy stepchild.
Billy Corgan's a fucking piece of shit.
What?
Billy Corgan's a piece of fucking shit. That guy's he's terrible.
Right, I don't know. I just think they're weird.
But my point is,
because I understand how the Chili Peppers were cool. I understand how
I don't.
Nirvana was cool, and I'm their aesthetic, their style, everything. But the Smashing Pumpkins just seems very mall.
Today is the greatest, best ever had.
Anyway,
you know it just came back out.
Before we get going,
you know it just came back out. I was looking at Rolling Stone, and they did a review of the re-release of Rage Against the Machine, self-titled, the first one with the burning
first one
monk.
Is rocking, man.
Dude, I went on Groove Shark or whatever today, and was rocking out at my desk to Bomb Track.
Bomb Track, good.
Killing in
the name of.
Yeah, that's good shit, man.
I used to have a Rage Against the Machine poster in my bedroom when I was in junior high school.
Raging Against the Machine.
Yep. That was me. I didn't know
cool.
what the machine was, but
go back and listen to that again. That's a good CD. That's what the Chili Peppers should have been. What?
Evil Empire is better.
I disagree. because I didn't have that first one, and I asked for the second one when it came out for Christmas, and I got it. And I loved Bulls on Parade, but
I think you should go back and listen to it again with an open mind.
Maybe. Yeah, I went through some of the songs, but you're probably right. At that point in my life, I was probably more in the Blink-182, or I don't even know. Maybe I was into heavy metal at the time. I had a couple Metallica CDs.
Metallica sucks.
Yeah, they're terrible.